भक्ति वेदांता नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरी वाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशा सुनयवादी पश्चतया देशतारिणे जया श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्री वसैदा गौरा भक्ता वृंदा। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीना बंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। सप्ता कंचना गौरांगी राधा वृंदवनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिय। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue with chapter 18, and I welcome devotees, Prabhuji and Mataji to today's class. So far we have covered acting with the detachment is true renunciation and brings freedom from reaction. You will remember that Arjuna asked what is the purpose of renunciation and what is the purpose of renounced order of life and what is their relationship between the two. And ultimately, Lord Krishna establishes that both are same, but renunciation, and uses word for both as common word as renunciation, because ultimately renunciation by a sannyasi and renunciation of fruits of actions or benefits of activities, that is the goal. So the renunciation he uses is the purpose for both of them. Then in second section, section B, conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta philosophy, we discussed about it, and actions were directed by super soul bring freedom from reaction. This section we were continuing, and conclusion of Sankhya philosophy, we talked about Jaimini philosophy and Sankhya philosophy of Kapil Muni. And then we also discussed about two types of activities. Those were Nitya Karma and Kamya Karma. Nitya Karma as prescribed religious duties or devotional service related duties, which are prescribed in Vedic scriptures. And Kamya Karma, the activities which are performed for the purpose of getting some kind of results or benefit from, so those were Kamya Karma. But Kamya Karma could be elevated if a person who is doing activities offers the results of his actions to Supreme Personality of God at head and does not enjoy them. So that was the elevation of from Kama Karma to say Nishkam Karma stage. So, and then lastly, we discussed about the 5 factors which are required for accomplishment of any action. And actions could be good or bad. By good means that religious activities or as prescribed in the scriptures, and bad actions mean the actions which are not prescribed in the scriptures, which are irreligious in nature. And the 5 factors which are required for actions, we discussed about those 5 factors or 5 causes of an action. And these were Adhishthanam, the place, the doer of the action, and the instruments of action, that is senses. Lastly, it was effort. And last but one was the effort or endeavor or efforts. And the last one was the Paramatma or Super Soul who permits everything to happen. So this is what we have gone through so far. And this was the example we can see here. The 5 factors, the place is there. Now these are the doers or the persons who are going to do activity. They are Karta. First was Adhishthanam, that is called Adhishthan means place. This is a material example. We'll come to the spiritual meaning of this verse. So these are the doers or karta, and this is the senses. They are using their senses, which is the karanam, by which the activity is performed, and the efforts are being made by these persons. So a lot of activity is taking places. That is endeavor, that is chesta, and lastly that is daivam or the super soul, which are responsible. So these are in relation to material happenings, and we have this example, construction of a multi-story building in which these 5 factors are in action, and super soul we can see is present everywhere, and he is guiding the karta, the chesta, the karnam, and also the adhishthanam, or the place. And this was a market example for a marketplace where activities are taking place. And Mataji mentioned about example of a child being taught at home. So all these five factors are in action whenever we do. Now the broader meaning or spiritual meaning of these five factors we'll discuss today. So adhishthanam refers to the, so this, yes, Richajan Mataji, first you read, then we'll continue these verses.
Yes, Prabhuji. पंचतानि महाभाव कारणानि निबोध में सांख्ये कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्व कर्मणाम. O mighty armed Arjuna, learn from me of the five factors which bring about the accomplishment of all action. These are declared in Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, performer, the senses, the endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. Adhishthanam tatha karta karnam cha prithvidham vividhascha prithkascheshtha devam chevatra panchamam. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the five factors of action.
Thank you, Mataji. So these are five factors which are required for completing any or accomplishing any activity or action by an individual. And what are these? These are, first is the adhishthanam. Adhishthanam is the action, the place of action, which is human body. This is now we are coming to the spiritual aspect or the philosophical aspect of these five places. The performer, then second is the performer or the karta. And who is the karta? Here the karta is the consciousness or the false ego, which makes happen something to be done. So karnam is the senses. They are different kind of senses. Mind and senses, they are the karnam. Cha prathak vidham, vividhas cha prathak cheshta. Cheshta is the endeavor or effort. And what is the endeavor effort? That is our life years. We know there are five pranavayus or life years which are moving. And we remember that Saman Vayu was responsible for digestion of food, which is called Jatharagni. So these are 5 years, life years, which are chesta. Because if we had no life years, or we had no consciousness, and these of movement of these years, any action could not have been accomplished. Then Daivam is the super soul. So these 5 factors have been classified here. Now, in verse number 15, yes, Mataji, please continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Shariravan manobhiryat karma prabhate narha nyayayam va viparitam va panchayate tasya hetava. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors.
So we know 5 factors. The supreme factor is super soul. If super soul does not permit, no action can be accomplished. Now, in going this hierarchy, so Jiva is acting as the doer. Jiva means the soul, which we have talked about, and soul directs the senses. The karanam, that is how the work is carried out by the individual. But the only what Jiva does, or what the karta or doer does, is if it is in relation to the religious practice, or it is as per the injunctions of the Vedic scriptures, then it is considered to be a good action. And wrong action, which is contrary to good action, which is irreligious, against the prescriptions or injunctions of scripture. So that those are. But who is doing these actions? These actions are done or carried out or implemented by mind, body, and speech. So mind, whenever mind is doing something, there are 5 factors involved. Thinking, feeling, or willing, then these are the functions of mind. We know that then these 5 factors are involved. Secondly, speech and body. Body includes senses. So the senses and also speech is when we talk something good or bad in a mode of goodness or mode of passion or ignorance, that is also having compositive manner those five factors. So yes, Mataji, verse number 16.
Yes, Prabhuji. तत्रैवं सति कर्तारमात्मानं केवलं तूय पश्यत कृतबुद्धित्वान् स पश्यति दुर्मति. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are.
Thank you, Mataji. Na pashyati durmati. Durmati means whose mati or intelligence is bad. A person na sa pashyati, he does not see. Now, so we know there are five factors for any action, and these five factors carry out all kind of activities that body, mind, and speech function or does it. But a person who is durmati, who is not intelligent, he considers himself the doer. So the Lord is now telling about who is intelligent, who is not intelligent. The intelligent person thinks that I am not the doer. These five factors, what action I have accomplished, is the result, outcome of cooperation and integration of five factors. So such person is called intelligent, and the person who does not consider these five factors and considers himself as the doer, he is a durmati person. So this is a pictorial, depiction of what we have heard in verse 15. Yes, Mataji, please.
These five causes cooperatively perform every action. Both right and wrong actions performed by body, mind, and speech. Super soul, all our activities depend on his will, sanction. Soul, the doer, endeavor of or efforts. Senses, instruments of action. Place of action, body.
Thank you, Mataji. So beginning from the place, let us go reverse way, anti-clockwise. Place of body is, the place of action is adhishthanam, or the body, the material body. Senses are basically the karanam, the instrument of action, are we do any kind of activity through our senses only, through hand, leg, eyes, mouth, tongue, voice, skin. So these are our senses. So these are instrument of action. They are called karanam. And then efforts or chesta or endeavor of efforts means chesta. Chesta, how one can do any activity unless he has got into the force of life, 5 life years, or 5 pranavayus. So pranavayus, they give energy enough to do effort. And the soul is the doer. Soul is the doer means the soul is the karta, and karta, soul has got consciousness, and the consciousness of human being is that of false ego. So soul is the doer, basically the consciousness. Endeavor is the chesta, which is the outcome of 5 life years, and senses are the instrument of actions. Senses means that those various senses, they are instrument, and the place of action of the body is the adhisthana. And who is doing all these, permitting all these things to happen or activities? Super soul. So wrong, what the now defined definition of wrong and right actions is given here. Yes. What are wrong actions?
Wrong actions, irreligious, work done against the principles of scriptural injunctions. Right actions, religious, work done in terms of prescribed spiritual directions.
Thank you, Mataji. So we have already discussed. Now we move on to section C. This section C, now we have discussed how an action is performed and who performs. The body, mind, and speech. Action is performed through body and mind and speech. But what guides body, mind, and speech and the senses to do particular type of activity, whether it is right or wrong? And this is 3 modes of material nature which guide the activities to be performed either in mode of goodness or mode of passion or mode of ignorance. So this is dealt in this section. Yes, Mataji. Summary of yoga ladder.
Summary of yoga letter. 18.19 to 66. 18.19 to 40. Karma, modes control all activities. 18.41 to 48. Sakama to Nishkama Karma Yoga. 18.49 to 55. Nishkama through liberation, then devotional service. 18.56 to 60. Working in pure devotional service. 18.61 to 63. More confidential knowledge, surrender to super soul. 18.64 to 66. Most confidential knowledge, become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Should I go ahead?
Yeah.
The modes control all the activities. 19 to 40. One's work according to the 5-factor is dictated by the 3 modes of material nature. This includes one's knowledge, 19 to 22, one's action, 23 to 26, one's performance of action, 27 to 28, one's understandings, 29 to 32, one's determination, 33 to 35, one's happiness, 36 to 39. All activities within the universe are thus controlled by the 3 modes. Verse 18.19 to 40.
Thank you, Mataji. So, yoga ladder, this yoga ladder, which is described from verse number 19 to 66. This basically is split into a couple of sections in this chapter. And these sections, first section which we are going to deal with is modes, how modes control all kind of activities. And as I mentioned yesterday while starting this chapter, sakam karma to nishkam karma through liberation to devotional service, and from devotional service to pure devotional service. And then most confidential knowledge was that super soul is the supreme. So surrender wants to surrender to supreme super soul. And ultimately, when person surrenders to super soul or Paramatma form of God realization, that means he advances towards Bhagwan feature and surrenders to Krishna. So this is overall summary of yoga ladder, how yoga proceeds from sakam karma to total surrender to Krishna. So this is yoga ladder. We'll have these sections ahead while we keep move ahead. Now in this section, that is section C or third section, 19 to 42 deals with how modes control our activities. Now these are 6 activities are described here. What type of presentation or how the activities manifest themselves in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And what are these activities? One's knowledge, that is jnanam, one's action, that is karma, one's performance of action, and one's understanding is intelligence, and ultimately one's determination, and lastly, happiness. So these factors, how they manifest under different modes of material nature in a living entity, this is the theme of this section. All activities within the universe are thus controlled by 3 modes. All activities, and lastly, Lord Krishna has defined here 6 activities only: knowledge, action, performance, action, understanding, determination, and happiness. These 6 activities. In addition, there are many activities which are taking place in our body or our adhisthanam or the place. But all these activities are summarily described in verse number 40 lastly, included, though they are not mentioned, only 6 activities are mentioned here. But this all other activities are included in verse number 18.40. So anyone else would like to read now? Hare Krishna. Riya Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji, but I'm with children, so
okay, no problem. Anyone else would like to volunteer?
Okay, I'll try reading still. Okay. 3 kinds of knowledge based on modes of material nature. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Just a minute. So 1, 2, 3. I think you have to take care of the baby. Prabha Mataji would like to continue. Swam Prabha Mataji, if you are listening. Or Sheila Mataji, anyone who can. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, please. 18.20.
18.20. First, the three kinds of knowledge based on the modes of material nature. 18.20. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all existence, undivided in the divided, is knowledge in the mode of goodness. 18.21. That knowledge by which a different type of living entity is seen to be dwelling in different bodies is knowledge in the mode of passion. And 18.22. And that the knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as all in all without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. Hare Krishna.
So knowledge. Now knowledge, how does knowledge perceive when he is in a particular type of mode? Now a person who is in mode of goodness. So 1, 2, 3, that is the highest grade. That is how it has been numbered. Mode of goodness has been given number 3, mode of passion 2, and mode of ignorance number 1. Now we are having, I mean, in our day-to-day contact with people, we come to see so many people, but we see them by their name, by their bodily structure, features, or position, or also such kind of factors we consider before seeing them. So this is in mode of passion, because we see different bodies. We do not see that the soul is the common factor in all those persons. Bodily features may vary. Their position, their dress, method of dress, behavior, dressing, that may vary. So most of us are inclined to identify people as they are in different bodies or bodily forms. But the person who has right knowledge, that is incorrect knowledge basically, because it is in a not sattvic but rajoguna or mode of passion. And but a person who has perfect knowledge, he sees soul in each and every living entity. He does not see the different bodily forms. But a person whose knowledge is confined to the mode of ignorance, he does not see anything. He does not see the material body. He does not see the soul, because he's in mode of ignorance. He sees his own bodily comforts only. So he does not. So in mode of goodness, whether it's a bird, animal, or a tree, or a aquatic life, or a living entity, the person sees all of them, in all of them, the presence of soul and super soul. In mode of goodness, so this is mode of goodness, and in mode of passion, person sees different bodily forms based on their external appearance or material body. And in mode of ignorance, the person sees only his own comfort. He does not see the other individuals. So he is totally concerned with keeping his body comfortable position. So this is knowledge. Now second is 3 kinds of actions. Yes, Mataji.
18.24. And the action performed in ignorance and delusion without consideration of future bondage or consequences, which inflicts injury and is impractical, is said to be action in the mode of ignorance.
So in mode of ignorance, what is happening? The person does not possess knowledge. He is ignorant. He is lethargic. He is indolent. He is sleeping. He is used to intoxication, and he does not follow any rules and regulations of Vedic scriptures. On the contrary, he acts against those scriptures. So, and when we have already studied the features of person in mode of ignorance. His activities are foolish. They are neither good for himself or not for others. And ultimately, he relegates down to the lower planets or hellish planets. So his his actions are always in contrast to the. So what is in the mode of goodness? Yes, Mataji.
18.23.
2-3. Yes, Mataji.
18.23. As for the action, that the action in accordance with the duty which is performed without attachment, without love or hate, by one which has renounced fruitive results is called action in the mode of goodness.
Thank you, Mataji. So karma or the actions which are performed in mode of goodness, first they are done as part of their duty, but because it is prescribed in scriptures that a person of different varna and ashrama should do these duties. So he performs all activities as his duty in keeping with the injunctions of Vedas or scriptures. He has no rag or dvesh with anybody. He does not want any kind of result to be or for personal sense gratification. So these actions are, or these karma or actions are in the mode of goodness. And then the third is in mode of passion. Yes, Mataji.
But action performed with a great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and which is in, enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion.
So we know that in mode of passion, the person works very hard, wants to attain more and more physical comfort, material objects, and possess more and more material objects, and wants to seek happiness in them, which is never always evading. Happiness never comes, because as soon as one desire is fulfilled, another desire comes up. So he's working very hard. He has some knowledge of Vedic scriptures, injunctions, but he does not act according to, because he doesn't have time. And he is always happy in seeking happiness in self-sense gratification. If I have such a big house, so many cars, so many dresses, so much of money, then probably I will be happy. But this happiness never comes, because one desire, as soon as it is fulfilled, another desire, bigger desire comes up, and he's always doing very, very hard work to be happy, but he is never happy. And such a person is also seeking respect and honor from outside. Whatever charity, austerity, penance he does, he wants some kind of recognition. So that is false ego. That is why he does not know that he is not individual, he is not material body. So this is in mode of action. So first we had about knowledge, then second karma or the actions, and third is the workers, the doer. What type of they are? Yes, Mataji. Three kinds of workers or doers are there. One doer is in mode of goodness, one other is mode of passion, and other is in mode of passion, ignorance.
18.28. And that the worker who is always engaged in the work against the injunction of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, expert in insulting others, who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is a worker in the mode of ignorance.
So we have already discussed this part, that since he does not possess, he is ignorant, does not possess the knowledge that he is not the body but the soul. He doesn't know about the Vedic scriptures. He works whimsically and independently of all scriptures, and he is expert in cheating himself and others also. So such workers are basically acting in the mode of ignorance. Then the second category is that of mode of goodness. The workers in mode of goodness, what kind of work they do?
The worker who is free from all material attachments and false ego, who is enthusiastic and resolute, and who is indifferent to success or failure, is a worker in the mode of goodness.
Thank you, Mataji. So when a person the person in mode of goodness, what is his characteristic features? Firstly, he does not have any material attachment. He does not seek for sense gratification. He does not possess any false ego, that because he knows that he is not the body. And also he is very enthusiastic and also firm in determination that he has to follow the Vedic scriptures. So there is a verse in Nectar of Instruction which says Nishtyat Dharat. That means he is yat tat karma pravartanat, that he follows the rules and regulations. He has got firm determination. He has got he works hard for accomplishing activities in a mode of goodness. And he is indifferent to success and failure because he is offering the results of all his action to Lord. So whatever, whether he fails or he succeeds, or the opposite conditions of life like happiness and distress, sorrow and happiness, the other gain and loss. So these conditions do not affect him because he is acting for sense gratification, not for sense satisfaction or pleasure of Krishna. So he is not affected by all these things. And lastly, the person in mode of passion. But yes. So in mode of passion, the person is very much attached to work because he's endeavoring very hard. He wants to enjoy the fruits of his work. And lastly, he is very greedy, envious. He's so much of false ego, and his actions are impure. He is moved by and whenever he is happy, he is very happy. But whenever there is distress, he is very much moved by that distress. Whereas a person in mode of goodness is not affected by this contrasting situation or contradictory situation in life. So this person is in a mode of passion. So these are three. So firstly, we heard about the knowledge, then actions or karma, and third is about the workers or the karta or the doer. Now what is about the intelligence? Anybody else would like to read? Srila Mataji, Swayam Prabha Mataji. Okay, Srila Mataji is not.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Yeah, shall I read?
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I read?
Yeah, yes, Mataji, please. I'm requesting you.
Three kinds of intelligence based on the modes of material nature. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction. O Partha is in the mode of ignorance.
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Dhanyavad.
Yeah, please continue, Mataji, all three verses, all three translations.
32 I read just now.
Yes.
30 I should read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, now it is shown. Okay. O son of Prutha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, that understanding is established in the mode of goodness. And that understanding which cannot distinguish between the religious way of life and the irreligious, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, that imperfect understanding, O son of Prutha, is in the mode of passion.
So
32 I had read. Shall I read
yes,
again?
thank you. No, thank you, Mataji. It is in this order only. So
Oh,
because they are dealing with mode of ignorance first, then just opposite in contrast to mode of ignorance is mode of goodness, and the mode of passion is in between. We will remember that anishtam, nishtam, and the Mishra, that is what we discussed earlier in verse. I think everybody will remember we discussed about this verse. I'll just have to go back to it. That what was Anishtam? This verse 18.12. Anishtam, Ishtam. Ishtam is in most mode of, so Anishtam is given first, that is in mode of passion. Ishtam is in mode of goodness, and Mishram is the mode of passion. So in this order, these 6 factors like intelligence, work, action, worker, and also the knowledge, happiness, and determination, these are described. So this is the order. And they discussed the Anishtam first, then Ishtam first, which is desirable. Anishtam is undesirable. Ishtam is desirable, and Mishram is the mixture, that refers to the mode of passion. So this is how it has been depicted, and how it is being prepared. So let us take Anishtam first, in mode of ignorance. The person does not know, he is ignorant, he doesn't know what is religion, what is irreligion. So whatever he whimsically thinks, independent of Vedic injunctions, he acts. And those activities, since they are not prescribed, they are in mode of darkness and the ignorance. And the result, he is always bound by Maya, and he is always doing activities which are not prescribed. And such activities, of course, lead to his fall down. In contrast, the Ishtam, the person who is in mode of goodness, he uses his vivek or discrimination. He knows what is pravritti, and nivritti. That means what ought to be done as a religious practice and what ought not to be done. So that is nivritti. So secondly, he fears he knows that what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. Because what is to be feared? The performance of sinful activity he fears. He does not do any kind of sinful activities because he knows, he is in knowledge, and he knows that such activity will lead to binding into the cycle of birth and death. So he fears those sinful activities or irreligious activities. And he knows that binding and liberating, and this is in the mode of goodness. But a person in mode of passion, he is swinging between, like a pendulum, between the mode of goodness and mode of ignorance. And he knows partly what are the injunctions of Vedic literature or Vedic scriptures. But because he's too much materialistic, he wants to enjoy senses of his own, wants to be happy in his own way. So that is why he is working very hard. He is earning too much of money, and he is sometimes when he has predominance of mode of goodness, he will do some kind of charity. But that charity is again against self-pride or false ego, because he wants some kind of recognition, donation by charity or doing sacrifice. He wants some kind of results. He wants some kind of honor and respect from society. He wants to be recognized for his actions, for charitable actions, for sacrifices that he is performing. He wants some results, and he wants to enjoy those results. So his situation is in the middle, in the mode of ignorance, and in the mode of goodness, he is seated in between the position. But he is more towards mode of ignorance, and only sometimes his moods or actions or knowledge or determination or happiness or his actions, they swing towards mode of goodness. So this is the status so far as intelligence or buddhi of these persons are concerned. Now we come to determination. Determination means dhrati. Dhrati means what kind of determination or objective goal one sets for himself and acts. Yes, Mataji, in mode of Prabha Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
1835. Kinds of determinations based on the modes of material nature. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion. Such unintelligent determination is in the mode of darkness.
18.33.
18.33. O son of Prutha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and thus controls the mind, life, and the acts of the senses, is in the mode of goodness. 18.34. And that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion. O Arjuna.
Thank you, Mataji. So 18.32,
Thank you, Prabhu.
33, and 34. The determination or drada nishchay or drada shakti, that I have to do this thing. What is their status in three modes? First, we'll take up mode of ignorance. Such person, I told you, he is a lethargic person, indolent, he is sleepy, he is very moody person. He doesn't follow anything which is religious or as per the Vedic rules and regulations. He has his own way of life. So he is always dreaming. He is always fearful because he doesn't know what the action of his, what the outcome of his actions is going to be. And he is always lamenting. Lamenting means he is always suffering basically. So he does some activities and out of that activity he becomes sorrowful or distressed. So he's always lamenting for his actions. He's morose. He's not active or because his intelligence is very, very low, and he's always under effect of Maya. He wants to just seek temporary material benefits and bodily comforts only. So that is how when he is lamenting and distressful, he will take to intoxication or go to sleep. So this person has no determination. He is very, very flexible because he does not set any goal for himself, religious goal for himself. In contrast, a person who is in a mode of determination, he has a firm faith, unflinching faith in Krishna. He has unflinching faith that he has to perform, that he is not body, he is soul, and that super soul is watching all his action. So his determination is steadfast. He is steadfast in his bhakti. And we know such a person, when he does devotional service, then with that different stages, that first he develops Shraddha, then he seeks for Sadhu Sangha. From Sadhu Sangha, he gets involved in Bhajan Kriya, and after Bhajan Kriya, there is Anarth Nivrati in him, and then thereafter, after Anarth Nivrati, then he has got Ruchi, Nishtha, and Asakti. So Asakti, Ruchi, Nishtha, and Asakti. And then he proceeds through Bhav Bhakti and Prem Bhakti. So this person has a gradual elevation from one stage to another, to another stage, and he is steadfast. He is going slow, but he's going certainly to that positive direction. And how does he establish that Bhava Bhakti? Ultimately by yoga practice. He controls his minds. Anartha Nivrati means that all kind of undesirable activities or the six enemies of us, they are eliminated. And Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsar, these are our six enemies. So by Anartha Nivrati means that he controls all these six enemies. And then he steadfastly moves on to Bhav Bhakti or Prem Bhakti. So he knows the purpose of his life. He knows why he is here and what activities he has to perform. And the status of person in mode of passion, his determination is very fluctuating. Sometimes he determines something to do, other times he deviates to another objective, and then determination is. But his determination is never for following the spiritual path or doing the devotional service of Lord. He is always considering himself for self pleasure and self happiness only. So and he is always seeking results out of his activity. So this is the status of a person whose determination is in mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Then, yes, Mataji, this is the last part which activity, which last activity which Lord Krishna has described. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance.
Sorry. Happiness in mode of goodness.
Yeah, that which is the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. 18.38. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Beautiful
Dhanyavad.
analogy is given here. If now just let us take the mode of goodness first. When we get up at 4 in the morning,
Hare Krishna.
yes, Mataji. Would you like to say something, Mataji?
No, Prabhuji. It
Okay.
got delayed. That's why I was doubtful whether it was connected or not.
Okay, thank you, Hare
Thank
Krishna. Thank you. So let us take example of happiness which we derive in the mode of goodness. Now, initially, it is very difficult to get up. We are most of the people sleep quite late, take dinner not at 7 or 7:30. When they take late dinner, they go to bed late, and it is then for such person it becomes very difficult to get up early in the morning and attend the Mangala Aarti or perform own worship at home in Brahma Muhurti. So it is like poison, it is giving a lot of difficulty. Or when we are a beginner in the Krishna consciousness, chanting or even 2 rounds sometimes seems very difficult. Then we gradually, with determination, we move on to 4 rounds. And ultimately, we move on to 16 rounds. And some of you are doing 16 plus rounds also. So this is how a determination in mode of goodness happen. But eventually, by doing chanting 2 rounds, then one derives pleasure in it, some kind of happiness or bliss. Then he moves on to 4 rounds, and 4 rounds to 12 rounds to 16 rounds plus 16 plus rounds. That is how the process of determination, action, knowledge, and every other aspect that goes on improving in mode of goodness. So it is like poison in the beginning, but it is nectar in the end, because the bliss that one derives by performing this chanting of Maha Mantra 16 times in the morning, that is really very, very blissful experience. But let us examine if we we are able to do only 10 rounds in the morning, Brahmurti time, or 8 times, then and the 8 rounds are left for afternoon session or evening, then that kind of attention or focus or that bliss we do not get in the afternoon or evening, because our senses are motivated, or the mode of goodness prevails upon us or dominates upon us during mode of goodness prevails during the Brahmurti. Because our sense organs have not come into contact with material sense objects. But as soon as day advances, our senses come in contact with material objects, and different kind of other activities take place. And lot of endeavor in mode of passion is taking place during daytime. But in the evening time, we are in a mode of ignorance. We are indolent, sleepy, tired, morose. We are not that active. Our senses are already tired by using those objects during the daytime. So this is a beautiful analogy. The happiness, that which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end it is just like nectar, and which awakens us to self-realization, and is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. We know when we were not in Krishna consciousness, we were sleeping quite late, sometimes maybe getting up at 6 or 7 o'clock. But now, if we get up at 4 o'clock or do do the Mangal Aarti at home, or do attend the Mangal Aarti at temple, then we don't feel that much of difficulty. It becomes the body, biological clock of body gets up at 3:30 even. So this is, initially it was difficult like a poison, but later it became better. And this person in mode of ignorance, he is totally lazy. He doesn't want any kind, doesn't have any knowledge, any kind of determination, any kind of real happiness always evades him. He is seeking happiness by doing irreligious activities. And this happiness is never there, because these irreligious activities, we know they are binding. They do not give any kind of happiness to us. So they give us so much of distress and sorrow ultimately. And in the mode of passion, the person is always involved in self-sense gratification. He wants material comfort. He works very hard for them. So his happiness, which he is seeking by gathering all these material comforts, never comes, because a thing which he thinks will give him pleasure today gives pleasure for a temporary pleasure for a few days, and thereafter he loses interest. He wants another object or another object of sense gratification, so that he can. So initially he is seeking nectar in those activities, but ultimately it is poisonous, because that is a 56-inch television set, but one thinks it will give me happiness, but after a couple of months it does not give any happiness. It is just like any other inert object to him. So in mode of goodness, all activities seem poison in the beginning, but they become nectar or amrit in the end. But in mode of passion, all activities seem to be in nectar in the beginning, but become poison in the end. And for mode of ignorance, it is all poison, poison, and poison, right from the beginning to the end. So this is a beautiful analogy regarding. Now in verse number 40, Lord Krishna, we have seen that these six things were described by Lord Krishna. In different mode of action, what is knowledge, what is determination, what is action or karma, what is happiness. So these things were described briefly as indicative of what mode of action has influence on these six activities. Now, whatever is left after these six, and we know there are many things which are happening in our daily life, and so many things are happening. So Lord has summarized all those rest of the things in verse number 40. And he says there is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary system, which is freed from these three modes of material nature, modes born of material nature. And you can see right from Brahma, the first living entity, to the smallest ant, everybody is covered by three modes of material nature. So on Prithvi or the Devloka, everywhere, these three, Satvik, Prakriti, Janmuktani, Yad Ebhinisyat Trivir Budai. They are bound by three modes of material nature. So nobody can act independently. Everybody is forced to act under three modes of material nature. And how to get freedom from those three modes of material nature? Devotional service is the only means, and surrender to Krishna, following the regulative principles, forsaking the fruits of our activities. That is the mode which Lord described in earlier chapters, that how one can get freedom from three modes of material nature. So we will remember the three modes of material nature. The chapter, Lord, in the end, Lord has described how one can get rid of these. So we will have to end here because the other batch will be joining. So we have covered in the summary of yoga ladder, the karma, the mode, control all activities. That is verse number 15 to 40 we have covered today. Now tomorrow we'll take up sakam to nishkam karma. So any questions? This section is very, very nice, and it is giving total summary of whatever we have gone through in Bhagavad Gita so far. So beginning from this verse number 13, 14, which I described here, that this is where we started, 13, 14, how 5 factors are essential for executing any kind of activity, and all activities are ultimately controlled by 3 modes of material nature. And body, mind, and speech, we do good activities or bad activities, that is really religious activities or irreligious activities. These are executed or expressed through body, mind, and speech. And how the 3 modes of material nature control all our activities, whether it is knowledge, the jnanam, one's action, the karma, the performance action, that is how the activity is executed. Understanding refers to intelligence, and determination, of course, in, the nishchaya shakti, and one's happiness, what type of happiness. So in 3 modes, what are these 5 activities, how they are reflected in mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness, that Lord has described. And in the last verse, 18.40, Lord has, whatever else is left after these 6 activities, Lord has said that everybody, right from Brahma to the smallest living entity on the earth, everybody is under control of 3 modes of material nature and is forced to act according to his mode. And Lord Krishna is supreme. He is the controller of 3 modes of material nature. He is the source of all 3 modes of material nature which he has created. And you can see the mode of goodness in white robe, and the mode of passion in red, and mode of ignorance is, these colors are representative of 3 modes of material nature. This is black color, and how living entities like puppets are acting under control of these 3 modes. This is a beautiful picture which manifests. So tomorrow we will continue with section D, which deals with verse number 41 to 48, and we try to finish up next section also. That is about working in pure devotional service, from Nishkam Karma through liberation to, from Sakam Karma to Nishkam Karma, and from Nishkam Karma to liberation, and liberation to pure devotional service. Liberation here does not mean that mukti. It means liberation from the influence of 3 modes of material nature. So this will take up tomorrow. Any questions, quick questions we can have, because others will be joining. I posted the attendance link. Any correction, additions, or observation, or opinion, or rectification, Matajis and Prabhujis, you are requested to come and mention. Or anything which I could not make clear today.
No, Prabhuji, everything was nice.
Mataji.
Prabhuji, just to add that even the last chapter, despite it is the summary of all the chapters, it is so awakening again.
Yes, Mataji. Because now, earlier it was discussed, every aspect was discussed in very, very large details. So when there is too much detail, sometimes we tend to lose the focus point or center point. Here, Lord has given just the summary only, and it is a very condensed and precise manner, in fact. So that is how our understanding should improve with. And this is one of the largest chapters, 78 verses in chapter number 18. And right from, right from that Karma Yoga to Gyan Yoga to yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga, the yogic ladder, which now he is describing, then proceeding ahead to pure devotional service, and from devotional service to pure devotional service, then recognizing the role of Super Soul, ultimately surrendering to Super Soul, and thereby awakening our dormant Krishna consciousness towards surrender of ourselves to Krishna. And this is what happens to Arjuna in the end of the 18th chapter. He is fully now convinced of what his role is. So, Manmana Mad Bhatvakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskar. That is the ultimate goal of our reading this Bhagavad Gita. So, we'll close down today's session. Please fill in the attendance. We have posted the link in the chat box. Please fill in that. In fact, I have to finish by 8 because I've been encroaching upon the time slot of other group, which is kids group. They might be complaining. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hare Prabhuji. So we can have closing prayer, Mataji. Richaji and Mataji, you said prayers.
Yes, Prabhuji. Vanchkaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagvat Gita ki jai, all Bhakt Branth ki jai.
धन्यवाद प्रभु.
Hare Krishna and Dandavat Pranam to all of you, Mataji and Prabhuji, for your association this evening. Thank you very much. I'll be posting this video recording today itself, so you can follow it here.